Years ago, when we first started doing this podcast, we had Harvey Brooker in, and it was a fascinating conversation. For like a lot of men, and this is a weight loss program for men, just like there's a weight loss program for women. We're just talking about the one now for men, okay? And Harvey came in, and it's a fascinating world that Harvey created for a bunch of guys that needed to lose weight, not the 10 and 15 pounders, guys that needed to drop heavy amounts.
Right, and a great program, no injections or anything like that, just good, healthy, sensible, balanced eating. Mm-hmm.
So for years, our guest this morning has worked with the Harvey Brooker team, but like everyone on that team, it started with a transformative weight loss experience. And here to tell us that story from Harvey Brooker, say hello to Eric Cohen. Hello, Eric.
Good morning, guys.
Cohen. Now you look great, by the way.
Thank
I don't
you.
know how old you are, but what was the day where you looked in the mirror and said, "Okay,
I don't want to be a fat guy."
Yeah. Well, our friend did. Was it for? What was
I
that?
don't know.
It was for fitness club.
Yeah.
When did you look in the mirror? What was the day where you said, "Okay, I'm now fat enough"?
It was August 2003 when I first went there, and it was because I was fed up with how I looked. And I actually saw a picture of myself on a beach that summer, and I thought, this is like a beach whale sitting there on the beach.
Can you tell us what you weighed in 2003 summer?
I was 250 pounds.
And how tall are you?
I'm 5'8.5".
Wow.
250 pounds. And we've asked this question out, almost, we just said, isn't there a point when you're like 225, 235, you kind of look in the mirror and go, ooh, things are getting out of hand?
Well, what I tell guys is, we do this thing we call exponential gain. It shows how you gain weight over your time. And a guy will show up, he's 250 pounds, and I'll say, well, 20 years ago, how much did you weigh? And they'll say, well, I was 190. I say, well, did you ever think when you were 190 you'd be 220? And they say, well, no, I never did. And then when you were 220, did you ever think you'd be 250? No, that wasn't going to be me. But, you don't do anything about it. It just keeps going up. It keeps and gets out of control, and then you don't know what to do about it.
And even over that 20-year stretch, you think if you gain a pound and a half a year over 20 years, all of a sudden you're 30 pounds
Exactly.
up. And depending on your frame, that's a lot of weight.
How much you're 5'9" or something, right?
Yeah, almost 5'10", yeah.
Well, you at your fattest in our last, in 2011,
yeah.
had you already lost some weight? Because I remember you I was 30 pounds heavier than I was 30 pounds heavier 3 years ago than I am now. And then I've gained a little bit of it back. But you were at your chubbiest, probably, 30 or 40 pounds more than you are?
I don't know. I never broke 200. I was maybe in the early
90s?
Yeah.
And now you're like 165?
No. 170 something. Yeah.
So from 250 pounds in 2003, you're sitting here today, 15, 16 years later at?
So about 180.
Yeah.
70 pounds down. It took me about 9 months to lose that weight.
Which is remarkable, though, when you think about it.
It is. And
No,
I still get comments from people saying, oh, nobody ever keeps their weight off. How have you done it for 15 years?
And well, how have you done it?
Well, the thing we teach is that any program where you're going to cut your calories, you're going to lose weight. But the reality is it has to be something you can do long term. It has to be something you can keep doing for the rest of your life. And so if you're on a starvation diet of 1,000 calories a day, you can't do that. Or these crazy,
No, because you're not going to
eat cabbage the rest of your life.
You're not going to keep doing it. Yeah.
So it's just teaching people how to eat healthy.
Yeah, so maybe back up a little bit. The Harvey Brooker program for men it's sort of what is the model? It's like it's sharing stories. It's not just cut calories. It's why you eat the way you eat. And maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
Correct. There's really two components to it. The first is that we have an eating plan, which is really just healthy eating. It's about 2,000 calories a day. It's based, the Canada Food Guide follows what we tell people to do, and it's very healthy. There are very few food groups you can have. It's really focused on portion sizes and on how food is prepared, so not frying it, not using oils, that kind of thing. And then the second component is the support that we provide. So we have these weekly meetings where men come, and it's a motivational piece, it's an educational piece, and it's a chance for men to stand up in front of other men and say, I'm down 40 pounds, I'm down 100 pounds, I'm down 120. And it gives them that sense of pride in what they're doing as well.
So when you say, I'll touch on this because we use it, oils, do you mean no oils, like no olive oil, no avocado oil, just stay away from oils
Not
completely?
zero.
Okay.
But limiting
back.
it, cutting it way back.
Yeah.
But Eric, there are lots of programs where you can sort of rejig your eating paradigm. But what about what is it about the Brooker program? Because Freddie and I have worked for Standard, we work for radio stations, and you hear these commercials for our whole careers. Something must be different, and it's not whether it's fried or baked. It's something about that support every Sunday.
Right. So that's exactly it. So we can give the eating plan to anybody that wants to, and they're not going to follow it because the key really is the support around it, and the team we built up there with volunteers that are there to help you. But it's the ability to come to that meeting and talk honestly and openly about challenges that men face, and we prepare you for things like sabotage people are going to try to do to you, and it happens. You try to sabotage for yourself.
Right.
There's self-sabotage. There's also sabotage people do to you. And sometimes they mean to do it, and sometimes they don't. It's
like, oh, come on, you could have one piece of cake, that type of thing.
Exactly. Or I made this specially for you. Why don't you eat it? Or
Yeah.
you've lost too much weight. You're not looking well.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of that, people start to go off their programs a little bit. They start to fall off the wagon, as we say, and then they stop coming. They start gaining weight back. And even with spouses, and there's a lot of stories around spouses who. Maybe they're jealous of their husband if he's losing weight. Maybe they think he's going to be more attractive to women. Other women, he'll leave the woman if she's not losing weight as well. So they start to worry about that. So they actually try to sabotage their husband's attempts to lose weight.
Can you imagine? Initially, too, carb withdrawal. Is that at the beginning of the plan? Is that a big part of it? Because
No,
I know
not at all. Not at all.
it's not.
No.
And what are you talking about? Like
I'm just saying,
where people
when
crave pastas and things.
Like if you're a bread eater, pasta eater, if you try to cut those out of your diet, you really crave them for a while, and then you get over it. And I'm just wondering about that aspect of it.
We don't cut back on carbs that way. So we teach you how to eat properly, and that includes carb. You need carbs to live, but you need complex carbohydrates, not the crappy, simple stuff that stores will sell you. So, for example, when I was losing my weight, people said, "Oh, I guess you're not eating any more bread." I said, "No, I'm actually I have 2 pieces of bread in the morning, I have 2 pieces of bread at lunch, but I'm having whole grain bread, not the white crap they try to sell you. Or we'll have whole wheat pasta, or we'll have whole grain rice, rather than."
But Eric, smart people will always, and have had access to, I should say, meal plans and information, whether it's complex carbs or food that takes more time to go through your system and all that stuff. But every Sunday, it's the thing about your program is to come there and be not only accountable to other people, but to have them being accountable for you, and to sort of it's a little bit of the AA model where you get up in a meeting and you share your story and you see that other people have a similar situation.
It's very similar to AA and Gamblers Anonymous because these are all obsessive compulsive behaviors. Even most men eat not because they're hungry, but for other reasons. Maybe you're stressed, you're depressed, you're bored, whatever it is. You're sitting around with nothing to do, so you eat. So we teach you how to deal with those situations when you would normally turn to food, turn to something else.
Sure, and also in the guy world, in the guy culture, it's if you're the only one not ordering chicken wings and fries after a game of golf or at the hockey game or something, there's all this peer pressure, and men often we succumb to that.
Yeah, and so the other part of sabotage is not just spouses but friends as well. So you go with a group of guys, all of a sudden if you start to lose weight, they're going to think, well, you're not going to come with us anymore, or you're going to try to change us, which people really don't like either. You're going to become one of those evangelists, right, for good eating, good health. And so they'll start putting the pressure on you, and that's again where we teach on the Sundays. We have 3 classes now: Sundays, Wednesday nights, and Thursday afternoons. We have classes 3 times a week now, and we teach you how to deal with those situations and how to say no to people and how to be assertive and aggressive, but not in a way that's going to get them upset at you.
Almost to be an advocate for your own health, versus to be succumb to the peer pressure.
And you talk about portion sizes too. I think that's a problem with a lot of guys have. Especially with that second helping, you're not really hungry. You don't really want it, but it's there. You're going to eat it. Like, why wouldn't I?
Right. And you go to a restaurant, you think what they give you is a portion, and it's not. It's usually 2 portions.
You're right.
Well, and you and I, he and I share this thing where we just eat so fast. I don't even notice.
Which isn't good either, right?
It's not good. I don't even notice the first portion. There's nobody other than you that eats as fast as me.
Actually, that's one of my problems, is that I eat too fast. And you need time
for your brain. Is that a guy thing?
It might be, but you need time for your brain to actually sink in that you've taken that food in. And so the slower you eat, the more it registers with your mind and your body that you've eaten it. If you do eat too fast, you're right. Your body doesn't really register.
By the time it tells you, you've overeaten.
Because what you said about the second portion, in reality, if you just were given that amount of food and that was it, you'd go, oh, okay, I'm done now. But because there's an option for more, I always take it or used to take it.
Well, there's it's a conditioning thing too, because I often think if I go back into the kitchen or whatever, it's just try and put my plate right in the dishwasher rather than looking at what's still there and having another heap.
Yeah, and we'll tell people.
It's tough, man.
We'll tell people if you go to a restaurant, for example, and they bring you this huge portion.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, okay, I'll leave half and I'll take it home at the end of the meal." Guess what? By the end of the meal, it's gone, right? So we say, cut it in half. Tell the server right now, put this in a doggy bag for me. I'll take it home at the start of your meal, and then just have the half that's on the plate. Because otherwise, like you said, it's gone by the time you get to the end.
So the Harvey Booker program is a program of support, of planning, of motivation, of discipline. And you lost 70 pounds in 9 months. Typically, when somebody comes to a Brooker meeting for the first time, and you've been now helping facilitate for some number of years, when you see that person, you recognize yourself a little bit? Like, I remember being in that situation.
Yeah, we'll talk to the new guys that show up. We tell guys to show up to first class, and we'll sit through it, and we'll talk to you about how it works and all of that afterwards. But yeah, you can sort of envision what's going through their mind. We say sort of deer caught in the headlight when they first walk into the office. They don't know what to expect, and they're terrified of what we're going to tell them. Stop eating everything altogether and all of that. So you start to put yourself in their position and understand it. And when you say how long it takes people to lose weight, everybody's different. On average, 2 to 3 pounds a week is a good healthy weight loss.
Right.
But everyone's at a different rate depending on your age, how serious you take the program, how large you are when you start. We have guys coming in at 400 pounds. Guys coming in with.
And what is the balance? They often say balance 80% diet, 20% exercise. Do you recommend a exercise program too? Is that part of it, or?
We encourage it, but that's not going to make you lose weight.
Right.
One thing I tell people is, you gained your weight with a knife and a fork. You got to lose with a knife and a fork.
Yeah.
Because people way overestimate how many calories they burn off when they're working out on a treadmill, and then at the end of it, they'll go, "Oh, I worked out for half an hour on this treadmill. I better have a protein bar now or something."
Yeah.
Which is as many calories as they just burned off on the treadmill.
So when you started with your weight loss program, day one, was it more portions or changing your diet, or you know what I'm saying? Did you dramatically change what you were eating, or just less of it? And again, it all depends on the situation.
It all depends.
Yeah.
So I figured out that I probably ate French fries 5 times a week.
Right.
French fries are one of the worst things you can have.
Yes.
So I gave them up altogether. And so there were some drastic changes that way that I thought, I love French fries. I'm going to miss them.
Yeah.
And then you realize, you know what? You don't miss them.
They're pretty good with
Taste
gravy,
change.
though. If you just not to take away from your, yeah,
And-
they're good with gravy.
And you talk about little lies. Sweet potato fries, would they be any better?
No, they're not.
No, they're not,
They're
of
still
course.
fried
People think
potatoes.
they are.
But
they're
also
not.
with gravy, quite
Yeah.
delicious. I'm holding it's a plaque, it's a picture of you, August of 2003, 247 pounds. March, pardon me.
Oh, Kazoon tyke.
March of 2004, 174 pounds.
Let's see that.
Like, that is, you look like a different human being.
Actually, it's funny because people didn't recognize me after I lost my weight. They hadn't seen me for a while. And it's actually a good opportunity to get rid of friends you didn't like in the first place.
Yeah.
You just let them walk by you on the street. Don't reintroduce yourself to them.
So how, and again, we're talking about not just a physiological change, but how much better did you feel mentally, your acuity, your clarity, your just sense of wellness?
Yeah, that's one of the things we talk about. A lot of guys actually, I talked about this yesterday in the class, on the Sunday class, where I asked guys what changes for you. And one guy said, I just feel smarter and I feel more aware of things. And at work, I noticed I'm more alert. And part of it is because you sleep better once you've lost weight. A lot of people have sleep issues because they're overweight. But there's also fat. I don't know if you ever saw that Body Worlds exhibit that was here a few years ago.
Yeah. I know the one you mean.
And
Where they inside the human body.
Right, and we have a picture of that, and it shows that when you have fat in your body, it's not just in your stomach, it surrounds all your organs, including surrounds your brain. So it's cutting off oxygen to those organs. And as you lose weight all over, including fat around your brain.
Well,
and so it is working better.
What would your ideal weight be? Like, do you guys go for a goal of an ideal weight, or is it more I feel good now.
Yeah, why did you stop at 174
Yeah.
and I go to 154?
We call it set point.
Okay.
And we say that's the weight that your body's meant to carry because it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
So things like BMI we don't use because they put everybody on the same scale. And so a world-class athlete like Fred Patterson
Yes.
will
Yeah.
be considered overweight because all the muscle you
Yes,
have on your body,
too much
right?
muscle.
Right.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things we look at is waist size because they say a 34 to 36 inch waist for a man is a good healthy waist size because men carry a lot of their weight in their waist. Now, if you that picture you looked at me, my
Right.
legs were huge is what I had.
Yeah.
A lot of French fries in those legs.
Exactly.
Yeah, Eric.
So, we say a 34 to 36 inch waist is around, and that's where your actual waist is, not where men wear their belts because usually you have your stomach hanging, way out over it.
Just-
Right, yeah, you could squeeze into a 34 and still have the.
Let me just pause you there for a bit.
So,
Eric, we got a little business to take care of. After all these years, how many years? 2004, you were
15 years.
15
Good
years.
for you.
So you were 174, and is that your set point?
I actually got, so when you talk about it, I actually got to what I thought was too low a weight.
Yeah.
Because I didn't feel strong and I had lost a lot of muscle at that point as well. So I started working out. I started exercising. I started jogging, which I used to think people that jog were miserable looking people until I started doing it. And then I realized, it is fun. Now I do a lot of long distance cycling. Now I'm older and I've hurt my knees. So I do long distance multi-day cycling and so I'm trying to try to keep myself in shape that way.
Nice.
But yeah, people say to us, well, nobody keeps their weight off. That's one of the other sabotage things. People say, well, why are you doing it for? Nobody keeps their weight off. You lose the weight, sure, but you gain it back. And my answer to that is, I kept my weight at 15 years. That's a 100% success ratio. The fact is, only 5% keep it off, 7%, whatever it is. For me, it's 100% because I've been successful at it. And so that's how you have to look at it. Just look at yourself and don't worry about all the other people out there.
And the thing is, you probably day to day now, after 15 years, don't feel like you're going without, do you?
Not at all. And
Yeah.
you do always have to think about it. I mean, because I know if I start forgetting about where I was and I start going back to eating those fries, I can be back to 250 pounds in no time at all.
And I'm onto the craft beers. That can be a bit of a concern, but I find you drink less of those.
Yeah, but you don't. You
No, I know.
You're not pounding
3 or 4 a week, maybe.
Yeah, you're not pounding 10 at a time.
Do you drink alcohol at
Right.
all?
Yes. It's on our program.
In moderation.
Do it in
But
moderation.
I wanted to ask though, like, do you ever? And we'll use fries as an example. Like in 15 years, are there times you say, you know what, Eric Cohen, have yourself a nice plate of fries with some beautiful beef gravy.
So we don't believe in cheat days, which a lot of people like to have because they lead to cheat weeks and cheat months, and before you know it, you're back. Have I never tasted a French fry?
No.
I've grabbed one off somebody's plate.
Yes,
have
you
I ever
have.
ordered fries? No, I haven't ordered fries in 15 years. I haven't really missed it.
Hang
Because when I
on.
do try it,
I'm sorry, Eric. You were saying about taking fries off somebody's plate.
But when I do have a fry, I realize, you know what? It's not what I thought it was. It's not how I remembered it being that great thing.
But back to what we were talking about, portion size and reconfiguring your attitude toward food is part of the Harvey Brooker's success, is that you bring in some guys there that might think, I can't lose 100 pounds, but the community that you've created are men that have lost weight. So sometimes you need to see somebody else that's done it, because I think a lot of people have gained in weight. You know, it was 10 pounds, you can take it off. But when you're a morbidly obese, and you were, you're 270 some pounds. You're a big fat guy.
Does that qualify as morbid?
oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So, well, whatever that
Yeah.
is, you're obese. Yeah, you've passed. I need to lose a couple of pounds, and I think that part of what, and correct me if I'm wrong, that part of the success of the program is you get to see that other men have done it. You show them that picture of you. You go, guys, I've sat where you're sitting, and I know it can be done.
Yeah, we start every class actually with asking guys in the audience questions, and they stand up, and the idea is they stand up and they say how much weight they've lost. And it doesn't matter if it's 20 pounds or if it's 150 pounds. It lets the other guys in class say, you know what, that guy's no smarter than me.
Yeah.
He can do it, I can do it. There's no reason why not. And a guy will say, oh, and I've kept it off for 4 years, 5 years, 7 years. And they're like, well, then I can do it too. Why can't I?
You know, and that connection of, depending what's going on in your life, turning to food as a soother or as a what, I mean, that's a key factor too. And to give that up is a bit of a challenge. And that's where I guess where the support really comes in. Learning that it's not food you want, you're just trying to.
And that's where a lot of men self-sabotage themselves as well, or come with all kinds of excuses why they can't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, we've heard every excuse under the sun. One guy a few weeks ago said, I'm not ready to do this because I have to go check with my doctor to see if it's okay.
Yeah.
What doctor
You wouldn't want
tell
you
you
to
not
lose weight,
to get
yeah.
healthy by, eating healthy?
And
fat
one
doctor.
other thing I would ask you, alcoholism. There's a lot of people that, they drink too much, they eat too much because of it, they gain weight, and then the reason that they don't want to lose weight is because in the back of their mind they're thinking, I don't want to give up that beer.
Right.
Do you deal with that, or is that beyond you?
I had a guy come in one time, and this actually shocked me because he was a school teacher, and he said he drinks about 12 beers a night at the Legion Hall.
Yeah.
Thinking, well, my first thought was, how do you get up and teach class the next day? But I guess you get used to it.
Yeah.
Put on a movie
But
like all the others.
If each one of those is 100 calories, he's talking 1,200 calories in beer every night.
Just
I said,
that.
you don't even need us. Just give up the beer, and you're going to lose the weight.
Well, I know what you're referring to. Yeah, I mean the thing is, a lot of guys they the eating is associated with the drinking and the drinking. I mean, it was with me. I stopped drinking 3 years ago, and 3 months or 4 months, and I lost 30 pounds in 5 months.
Yeah.
Just stopped because, well, I'll tell you what. Forget beer.
Well, it's empty calories.
Wine was my thing. I couldn't. Beer took too long. Wine is so many calories, but it's not
And
just that.
sugar,
It's that
yeah.
sugar.
Yeah.
And a lot of alcoholics, drinkers like myself, crave sugar. I really do. I mean, you just because you're all that sugar's gone from your diet.
Well, you have a night too of drinking 3 or 4 or 5 beers, whatever it is. You get home or you're somewhere, you just feel like eating. You feel like having a bag of chips or a burger.
And it's not even that. If you go to the bar with the guys and you have 3
Yeah.
or 4, you're not thinking straight about what you're eating. So all
Yeah.
of a sudden you do start grabbing stuff that you normally wouldn't eat as
Yeah.
well. You're losing that sensibility of it.
Well,
Eric,
you do great work, my
Yep.
my friend.
HarveyBrooker.com. Eric, thanks for coming in.
Pleasure.
I thought this. Remember, I said it was only going to be about 10 minutes. I don't know what happened, Eric.
Oh.